respected panel members, thank you for this opportunity to present today. Before I move into the main content, I'd like to briefly introduce myself. My name is Amna Salim and I currently work as a primary teacher and digital learning coordinator. My role involves three key areas: teaching and supporting primary students' academic growth, coordinating digital learning initiatives and technology integration, and managing important administrative tasks for teachers, students, and the overall learning environment. On the academic side, I hold a master's degree in economics and a bachelor's degree in education, and I am currently pursuing my PGCE through Exceed College affiliated with UCAM Spain. And what really drives me in the mix of leadership and technology in education that I love finding ways to make learning better, both for the students in my classroom and the teachers I work alongside. I have been teaching for over 20 years now, and along the way, I have grown into an instructional leader. Now I help shape the curriculum, support my colleagues, and work on improving how students actually learn. Through this journey, I realized that a general leader focuses on vision and culture, but an instructional leader works at the heart of teaching and learning. It wasn't easy, there were real challenges along the way, but learning about different leadership theories helped me critically reflect, and it slowly reshaped how I teach and how I lead. So, what exactly is instructional leadership? It's when educational leaders put teaching and learning first. Instead of just managing the school, they work closely with teachers, look at the curriculum, set academic goals, and offer meaningful coaching. This idea was first introduced by researchers Philip Hellinger and Joseph Murphy back in 1985, and it's also sometimes referred to as pedagogical leadership, curriculum leadership, and learning centered leadership. Let's talk about why instructional leadership really matters. First, it boosts student achievement. When leaders focuses on curriculum quality and give teachers timely feedback, students actually learn better. Second, it creates clear academic goals. When everyone's working toward the same goal, improvement becomes a team effort, not just one person's job. Third, it supports teachers' growth. Good instructional leaders guide meaningful professional development, which naturally builds teachers' confidence and skill, which in turn benefits students. Fourth, it builds stronger, more connected schools. When teachers collaborate and reflect together, the whole system ends up with better teaching quality. Fifth, it encourages data-driven decisions. Instead of guessing, teachers use real student data to support learning gaps early and fix them with the right strategies. And finally, it transforms school culture. When learning becomes the true center of every decision, school shifts from just being okay to genuinely effective. Here I'm going to discuss three important types of leadership. Distributed leadership, proposed by Spilling, Halvorsen, and Diamond in 2001, is the idea that leadership is shared across people rather than resting with just one formal leader. At my school, distributed leadership shows up when senior leaders, middle leaders, and teachers work together by not just relying on one person at the top. As a digital learning coordinator, I take part in shared leadership and collaborative decision making, especially around technology integration, but we do face challenges too. Unequal participation, where some staff contribute more than others, slower decision making since more people need to be consulted, uneven expertise across the team, and at times a lack of coordination between departments. Servant leadership, proposed by Greenleaf in 1970, means the leader serves and supports the team instead of just giving orders. At my school, I do this by helping teachers with digital tools and guiding them, not just directing them. But it has some downsides. Sometimes I take on too much myself, decisions can be delayed, I can feel burnout, and the excessive focus on people mean that the result take a backseat. Transformational leadership, introduced by Burns and Bass in 1978, is about leaders inspiring their team to go beyond what they thought they were capable of. At my school, I try to apply this by encouraging teachers to explore new digital tools with confidence, pushing them a little beyond their comfort zone. I believe that it has its own limitations, like limited shared decision making. At times, followers become overly dependent on the leader. Looking at all the three styles together, each brings something valuable, but none work perfectly alone. Distributed leadership builds teamwork but can slow decision down. Servant leaders build trust but can lead to burnout. And transformational leadership inspires growth but can create dependency. In my own practice, I have found that the most effective approach is a blend, sharing responsibility like distributed leadership, supporting staff like servant leadership, and inspiring innovations like transformational leadership, depending on the situations. Now, let me introduce my institution where I currently work, Pakistani Islamia Private Secondary School in Ajman, UAE, founded in 1987. It was established to provide quality education to the Pakistani community here. It is recognized by the Federal Board of Intermediate and Secondary Education, so it follows Pakistani national curriculum from primary through secondary levels. The school blends Islamic value with academic excellence and co-curricular activities, and as part of its growth, it's been actively expanding technology in the classroom, which is actually central to my own role as digital learning coordinator. Here I will explain how instructional leadership works at my school. We share leadership among teachers, MLTs, and SLTs who take on different tasks together instead of one person handling everything. Our school leaders spend time in classrooms watching how teachers work and offering real feedback to help them improve. We care about making every student feel included, no matter their ability or background. Teachers work together by planning lessons, sharing ideas, and helping each other get better. As digital learning coordinator, the style I see most is transformational leadership. Our leaders share a clear vision of where we are headed with technology, and they trust us to take the lead ourselves. And finally, we look at students' data and feedback to make smarter decisions about teaching and curriculum instead of random guesses. Let me walk you through the actual change I led as an instructional leader, bringing digital learning and AI into our curriculum. First, I built a school-wide digital learning framework, making sure the technology use was purposefully across every grade. Second, I designed an AI curriculum for grade 1 through 8, age appropriate and focused on building critical thinking alongside responsible use of technology. Third, I led teacher professional development, running workshops and training so staff felt genuinely confident using digital tools in their classrooms. I work closely with teachers to embed digital tools into everyday teaching so technology become a real part of lesson, not just an add-on. And finally, I made sure to monitor and evaluate the impact by collecting data, feedback, observing lessons, and reviewing student progress to keep refining the approach based on real evidence. Let me reflect critically on how my instructional leadership practices have actually shaped my teaching. On the pedagogical side, I shifted my classroom from teacher-centered to student-centered, brought technology and AI into learning, started planning with the end goal in mind, and made differentiation a regular practice, not just an occasional effort. On the assessment side, my approach changed too. I moved from simply grading students to actually guiding them, began using real data to make decisions, started learning together with my team instead of working alone, and honestly questioned my own assumptions when marking student work. As an instructional leader, I have faced real challenges like resistance to change from teachers, difficulty measuring actual impact on learning, limited time for professional development, and keeping students engaged consistently across different classrooms. To tackle these, I have focused on a few key strategies. I involve teachers early in decisions, use multiple sources to measure real impact, keep training short and practical, and create simple guidelines and checklists to support consistency. As a digital learning coordinator, my leadership journey has really been shaped by experience and honest self reflection. My greatest strength is mentoring and supporting teachers. I believe in building trust so colleagues feel confident, not overwhelmed by change. Over time, I've also learned to use data and feedback to guide my decisions rather than relying purely on instincts. I'm honest about my challenges too. I can get overly enthusiastic about new ideas and move faster than my team is ready for. This has taught me that meaningful change takes patience and that bringing people along matters just as much as the idea itself. Looking ahead, my goal is to shift from being the person who drives changes to building a culture where other leads change too, creating a space where teachers feel genuinely empowered to innovate to their own classrooms. Thank you so much.